Why are India and China always arguing over their borders? So answer is not just about land, it's about history, it's about pride, it's about power. So with soldiers facing off in the freezing Himalayas, even a small mistake can spark big trouble. So are you curious how these borders became such a hot spot? So let's find out in this video where we will talk about the Indo-China border disputes. Okay, so before going further, we have to understand the India's land borders. Okay, so Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, and these Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Assam and West Bengal. These 16 states are having 92 districts, and it is having the land border with our international countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar and Bangladesh. You have to remember that. Okay, so if we talk about the each one's like how much boundary India is sharing with other countries. So if we talk about Indo-China, India is having 3,323 kilometer of boundary with India and Pakistan. Indo-Afghanistan is 106. It's the shortest boundary, like only 106 kilometers is the boundary between India and Afghanistan. Indo-China 3488, Indo-Bhutan 699. Indo-Nepal 1751, Indo-Myanmar is 1643, Indo-Bangladesh 4096.7 kilometer. So tell me which country is having highest land boundary with India? Answer would be Bangladesh. And which is the shortest one? Shortest would be Indo-Afghanistan. That you have to remember. So now can you notice that not India, Pakistan, India, China is sharing the second largest land boundary. Okay, and recently, like this is our land boundary, right? From here to here, this is our land boundary. These are called coastlines. Okay, so recently, generally, like from 1970s, we use 516.5 as the coastline of India mainland. Recently, government notified, they recalculated the coastline, and they found out, our government find out that our coastline has been increased by 48% in 53 years. Okay, so these are the details. The new coastline of India is 11,098 kilometers. These are the new ones. Okay, so till the time our NCERT is not having this particular figure, we will go with the 7,516 kilometer only. Okay, this is a huge change. Whole syllabus will be changed of geography because we are considering estuaries, inlets, bays and gulfs also. Okay, these are the new parameters. Which state gained the coastline, which shrink. So Puducherry was the only one whose coastline was shrink to 4.9 kilometer. Okay, so this is a piece of information for the coastlines. So if we talk about the frontline states, because this question has been asked in examination, what are frontline states? So to remember, the states which are having any boundary, land or sea boundary with any other country, that will be called like it is having access to the sea as well as the international boundary. Those are called frontline states. So which one is not frontline states? Answer would be Haryana, MP, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh and Telangana. You have to remember that. Okay, these are not the frontline states of India. Now I think Indo-Bangladesh, now, number one. The second largest boundary is India-China. That's what we are going to talk about today. That our states, Ladakh is Union Territory, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, these states share the boundary with the China. You have to remember that. Then if we talk about the Indo-China border in detail, so we divide Indo-China border into three sectors. First one is west sector, second one is middle sector, and Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh boundary comes under eastern sector. Okay, so western, middle and eastern, you have to remember. Firstly, we will talk about the western sector. Okay, what exactly is going on there? So this is our Indian map. Okay, this is our Indian map. okay, that we claim we own that, okay. But can you see this line? So whole this particular area is falling under the Pakistan, that Pakistan called Indian administrator, but it is the Jammu Kashmir only, it is our Kashmir, okay, J&K. And this particular peach color is administered right now by the China. It is called Aksai Chin. Aksai Chin is a district of India, you have to remember that also. And Siachen glacier, it is the highest battleground of the world. It is between POJK and Aksai Chin. That's why we are serious being here. If we lose this particular ground, POJK and this China and Pakistan can trade easily together, okay. And there is one valley called Sakshagam Valley that was given to Pakistan. It was gifted by Pakistan to China. It was our part. We will talk about all these things later. So this is the situation of the western sector of our India, that it separates Ladakh. This is our J&K. This full is our Ladakh. So Ladakh is separated by the Xinjiang province of China. Xinjiang is of China, Ladakh of India. So this western sector, this particular sector, it separates Ladakh from the Xinjiang province of China. And this particular boundary, how come this boundary came? This boundary came due to the British policy towards Jammu and Kashmir state. So this particular boundary what we see today, it is done by, it is like badly done by the Britishers, okay. So it's a habit of Britishers to create a mess when they leave somewhere, like India, Pakistan, here China also. So China problem is also created by our British friends only, okay. Now China claims Aksai Chin district, which is the part of India. China claims Aksai Chin district. They claim Changmo Valley. They claim Pangong So Lake, and they claim Sponger So Lake also. So these are the areas in the western sector that is claimed by the China. You have to remember that. And this is the mapping, full mapping. This is our red one is our Aksai Chin. So thing is that this particular sector is more troublesome because the boundary is not clearly defined. Now you will ask me, how come the boundary is not clearly defined? It is because of the Britishers. There is no clear boundary in western sector, specifically between India and China. That's the problem. That's why sometime in China claims we have entered into their territory, sometime India claims that Chinese have entered into their territory, because there is no clear demarcation in the western sector, okay, that is with the China, okay. Also China claims Hunja Gilgit area of North Kashmir also. This particular Sakshagam Valley, okay, remember that Sakshagam Valley, this territory was ceded by Pakistan to China in 1963. Just after 1962 war, Pakistan gave this particular area to the China. Now China has the control over this particular region, okay. Now comes the middle sector. So earlier we were talking about the western sector, now is the middle sector. So in middle sector, this one I told you, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, these two states are having boundary with China. So generally it's a peaceful peaceful sector as comparison to eastern and western, but problem is sometimes Shipkila and Korik in Himachal and Barahoti and Pulan Sunda in Uttarakhand, here sometimes the Chinese create the problems, okay, else it's a peaceful area. Let's move to the eastern sector. So eastern sector, as you can see, like western sector, how many kilometers? 1570 kilometer area is western sector, central sector is 545 kilometer, and eastern sector including Sikkim plus Arunachal Pradesh is 1325 sector. These all comes under. So these values can change according to the websites, and different are there. Now can you see the Arunachal Pradesh? Arunachal Pradesh capital is Itanagar, and Arunachal Pradesh is the part of India, but China claims that Arunachal Pradesh is the part of China, and China calls Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet. It takes Arunachal Pradesh the extension of the Tibet, okay. In 1954 we accepted Tibet as the part of China. Now we have recognized Tibet as the part of China, but they are claiming that no, Arunachal Pradesh is the extension of the Tibet itself. Okay, so there is a pass called Difu Pass at the tri-junction of India, Tibet and Myanmar. This is the tri-junction of India, Tibet and Myanmar. You have to remember this pass name is called as Difu Pass and Talu Pass. It was asked in examination in UPSC and UGC NET both. You have to remember, it's very important. Okay, so in eastern sector, Arunachal Pradesh became full state in 1972. Okay, you have to remember, and China calls Arunachal Pradesh with the name I told you, South Tibet, and there is one more name, Jungnan. So Jungnan or South Tibet is told by this Tibetan territory of China. Basically, they call it like that. No, so what happened in 1914? Simla Convention happened, and in this particular convention, McMahon line was introduced, and China never ratified this particular line. This convention they never did. Okay, so according to China, India is having no legal standing on Arunachal Pradesh. That is claimed by Arunachal Pradesh, but that is totally this like baseless allegations. And recently lot of development is going on in the Arunachal Pradesh. So recently Sela Tunnel was launched in March 2024 by Government of India. Okay, to increase the border infrastructure. You have to remember that. Fine. Now, so this is our eastern sector. Generally we call McMahon line. Remember McMahon. So there are 2-3 lines. We will talk about those lines: Johnson line, McDonald line, and McMahon line. So Johnson and McDonald, MacD, okay, that is in the western sector, and McMahon line is between India and China in eastern sector. It was the name came from the Sir Henry McMahon, the then foreign secretary of British India, who negotiated the boundary agreement between Great Britain and Tibet at Shimla Accord in 1914. Now the problem with China is that China is saying that it was done between Tibet and Britain. It was not done between India and China. It was done between Britishers and Tibet people, Tibet kingdom. So we don't recognize it. We don't ratify it. That's the point of theirs. Okay. Now we talked about all these 3 sectors. Now we will talk about the disputed territories. Till now I told you what exactly are the sectors. Now we will talk about the western sector. So generally our western sector, India shares about like 2152. In previous slide it was 1500. So approximate values are there. Just take 1500, 1700 border is there. Okay, already I told you the Ladakh and Xinjiang province of China is connected by that. Now already we talked about the Aksai Chin dispute. So my point of interest here would be the lines, basically, that what exactly India recognize, what exactly China recognize. So this western sector is very interesting, that this particular Aksai Chin, whole this Aksai Chin issue, it was because of British Empire's failure to clearly demarcate a legal border between China and the Indian colony, because at that time in 1914, India was the colony of Britishers. So during the British rule in India, 2 borders between India and China was proposed. One was Johnson line and second was McDonald line. So India follows Johnson line and China follows McDonald line. But now problem with China is that China is not even following McDonald line also. It is again crossing a McDonald line and trying to intrude into India's territory. Try to understand this, that this particular blue colored line is known as Johnson line. You have to remember that. Okay, this blue colored is Johnson line. Okay, this one is McDonald line. McDonald. Okay. Right now, India think this is the boundary. Try to understand it. This is Johnson line, which India claims. This is the right boundary between India and China. This boundary is claimed by China, that yes, this is the boundary between India and China, but Chinese have entered till here, students. So clearly we have to ask China why you are crossing the McDonald line and enter into India in like almost like 100 kilometers inside. If this was the line you have accepted, then why you are entering into this particular area? That's the concern. That's the whole point of problem. Now let's talk about Johnson line. So Johnson line, this particular line was proposed in 1865. It was proposed in 1865, and according to Johnson line, Aksai Chin was the part of is the part of India only. That's what we accept. While McDonald line, this is the McDonald line. So McDonald line proposed this particular part, means Aksai Chin, as the part of China. Okay. Now India consider Johnson line as the correct one. Okay, rightful nation border, while on other hand China considered McDonald line as the correct border with India. Okay. Now right now, line of actual control is the line separating Indian areas of Ladakh from Aksai Chin. Now the problem is that neither China is recognizing Johnson line, neither it is recognizing McDonald line. It is entering into India. So there is a gray area, don't you think? India's perception line is this, China's perception line is this. Now if I want to expand this particular photo, this area would be the disputed. Don't you think? Indian troops will enter into this, Chinese will enter into this, they will have the clash over this particular region. That's the all the contest area is. Fine. Recently, so this LAC, line of actual control, remember LOC, line of control, is of Pakistan. India's right now the border between India and India and Pakistan is known as LOC, line of actual control, and the line between India and China, that China generally like being aggressive and intrude into our territory, that is line of actual control. Okay, you have to remember that. Now this LAC concept was introduced by Zhou Enlai in 1960. Okay, you have to remember that. And there is a map of China in 1936. This is a map of 1936 map. This is Nepal. This is our Sikkim. This is our Arunachal Pradesh. So in this particular map, as you can see, China's own official map is not showing Aksai Chin as the part of their territory. Now they have flipped and they are bluffing that Aksai Chin is the part of China. Earlier, your own map is showing that Aksai Chin is not the part of China. Now, so these are the three sectors, students, you have to remember. And in 1950s, Panchsheel was also came. Just after the Panchsheel, China backstabbed us and they attacked India, and because of the Dalai Lama also came. So it was so pissed because of all these developments that it attacked India in 1962. Lot of casualty was taken place. So we will cover the clashes in the next lecture. Right now we talked about the border dispute. So I hope you did understand that this is the perfect example of the disputes. Again, revision purpose, Dapsang Plains, okay, Pangong So, line of control, and Darbuk Shok Daulat Beg Oldie all-weather road. This thing is creating trouble for the China, because we have constructed a road till our Siachen glacier. So that is not going down well in the thought of China. Okay. Now, so Aksai Chin, Dapsang Plain, Pangong So Plain, this Daulat Beg Oldie road, McMahon line with Arunachal Pradesh, all these are the disputes between India and China. I hope you did understand Johnson line, McDonald line, all this McMahon line and all, line of actual control. So in next video, we will talk about the clashes. We will talk about the timelines from 1947 to 2025. What is going on with the India and China? How many clashes have happened? What is the intensity and what is the geographical locations of these clashes? So stay tuned, subscribe the channel, and see you in the next one.